A court ruling in Indian illegally occupied Kashmir has reignited demands for justice over thousands of alleged enforced disappearances during decades of conflict. Families say the decision has reopened old wounds while exposing unanswered questions surrounding India's brutal actions in the disputed territory. Details in this report.
A court in Indian illegally occupied Kashmir has issued a death certificate for a man who disappeared nearly 3 decades ago after being taken into custody, marking a rare judicial acknowledgement in one of the region's most painful human rights cases. Rights groups estimate that around 8,000 people vanished during years of conflict, while many families continue searching for answers about relatives who never returned.
From the early 1990s until around 2000, during the years of intense violence, nearly 500 graves were marked here with serial numbers. Around 500 bodies are buried in this graveyard. Many of the bodies were badly mutilated. Some were missing their heads, others their legs or arms, making identification extremely difficult. We buried them here as a humanitarian act.
Residents in Kupwara say unidentified bodies were buried in numbered graves after being handed over by authorities. Families later searched those graves, hoping to identify missing relatives. Human rights organizations have long called for independent investigations and DNA testing to determine the identities of those buried in unmarked graves across Indian illegally occupied Kashmir.
When families heard that a relative had gone missing, they came here searching for them. At that time, many had no idea where their loved ones were. We would exhume the graves so they could try to identify the bodies. Some of the bodies were identified, but many could not be. A lot of them did not have heads, so the process of identification was extremely difficult. If a body was identified, the family was allowed to see it before it was reburied.
Among those still waiting for justice is Jana Begum, whose husband disappeared after soldiers took him away in 2002. Like many women in Indian illegally occupied Kashmir, she has spent years living between hope and grief, while families say legal battles have failed to reveal the fate of their loved ones.
My neighbour told me I saw your husband in a dream. You were asleep and he was lying beside you. I'm talking about just last night he looked very worried. Then I asked her, what if he is alive then he sees my condition here?
The latest court decision has renewed calls for accountability over enforced disappearances and alleged custodial abuses. Families argue that justice remains incomplete until the whereabouts of the missing are established and those responsible face legal consequences.
Sometimes during crackdowns, the army would come and inform the police station that they had arrested him, but then they would release him. But this one time, there was no trace of him. It felt as if some alien force had snatched him away from us.
Human rights advocates say thousands of disappearance cases from Indian illegally occupied Kashmir remain unresolved despite decades of appeals. For many families, the search continues not only for missing relatives, but also for truth, accountability, and justice.